Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Watch for a look at your weekend headlines. I'm Chris Bianchi. We'll start things out by taking a look at the weather side of things, where it does look like we're going to be mostly on the clear side for most of the weekend. We could see a little trouble, though, on Saturdays. We do have some scattered showers and storms that will work the way on through during the afternoon and evening time frame. Probably a better chance in northern Colorado for some of those. Highs will be in the mid-80s on your Saturday. Then by Sunday, we get those temperatures back up into the upper 80s with a much drier forecast in store for the back half of the weekend. And then for your Labor Day itself, looks dry as well. And on the hot side, we could be topping 90 degrees for your Labor Day. So it will certainly be on the toasty side as we head through the unofficial end of summer. And with that in mind, let's take a look back at some of those headlines that we saw throughout the course of the week and some of the biggest stories that we had for you here on 9 News Watch.
More than 2 years after Elijah's deadly encounter with Aurora police and paramedics, Colorado's Attorney General Phil Weiser announcing today they are filing charges on the grand jury's recommendation.
Our goal is to seek justice for Elijah McClain, for his family and friends, and for our state.
Elijah is a native of Colorado. Can I tell you how much it hurt me to see y'all rally for somebody in another state, but not for my son last August?
It took nearly a year after his death before Colorado was chanting Elijah McClain's name. A name the world wouldn't know if it wasn't for a mother's fight for justice.
I'm speechless. I'm glad that I'm able to tell his story, to tell his side of things. Because he did matter, and he still does.
From the day Elijah died at the hands of Aurora police, Shanine McClain has always said she wanted criminal charges filed against the men responsible for her son's death, but she never allowed herself to expect it.
I actually didn't have any expectations. I was just praying for the best.
Today, Colorado's Attorney General announced the 3 officers and 2 paramedics involved in Elijah's deadly encounter will face criminal charges on recommendation from a grand jury.
I'm thankful, I'm grateful that they saw what I saw. That he never should have been stopped, that he never should have been brutalized, he never should have been handcuffed, and he never should have been given ketamine.
Initially, the Adams County District Attorney determined police and paramedics did nothing wrong on August 24, 2019. But that is not how this story ends.
This was a completely innocent man who was murdered. And we saw for the first time, when the conscience of our community, the jury system, got a chance to review it, what happened. When we don't have cops judging themselves, but community judging police, I think we see a different outcome.
While it took 2 years for anyone involved in Elijah's death to be charged with a crime, indictment is only step 1. A complicated trial comes next.
I expect prison for my son's murders and their accomplices, because that's exactly what they did. They're accessories to a crime. And I don't think it should be anything less than that. They need to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Even in today's victory, you can see that fight in Shanine remains. The type of fight that can only be fueled by a mother's love of her son.
I'll be there.
32 charges.
I'll be there with bells on. Sure will.
5 defendants.
I'm not going to stay away from this.
And Shanine plans to be in the courtroom for every moment of trial.
So I've come this far, and I'm going to keep on going.
We start at 4 o'clock with, after 20 years, America's longest war has come to an end. The last American military plane leaving Afghanistan just a few hours ago.
I'm here to announce the completion of our withdrawal from Afghanistan and the end of the military mission to evacuate American citizens, third country nationals, and vulnerable Afghans. The last C-17 lifted off from Hamid Karzai International Airport on August 30th, this afternoon, at 3:29 p.m. East Coast time. And the last manned aircraft is now clearing the airspace above Afghanistan.
Daddy!
What?
Give me bandage.
Why?
I got hurt right here.
Okay. Monday, 4-year-old Ava only needed to take care of a small scar on her foot. Since early August, there have been emotional scars.
You got hurt? Where you got hurt?
In addition to the physical ones.
Right here. Yeah, the flash bombs.
Haroon Zarifi is grateful his children are safe.
Taliban, take me.
Yeah, she was scared that Taliban were going to take her.
After weeks of not knowing if they would escape the violence in Kabul.
I was seeing people died right in front of me in that crowd. Children died right in front of me in that crowd. And I was about to lose my daughter right there. from that flash bomb.
4 plane rides after leaving Afghanistan, Haroon, his wife, and 2 children returned to their Denver home last week.
But with all that, still it didn't bring me the happiness, because I left behind my whole family there. My youngest brother is 11 years old.
The dozens of documents in his lap are proof his dad and father-in-law are American allies.
My dad, he did provide security. He did work for a security supervisor for at least more than 7 or 8 years. He was so proud. He's a great guy.
These are the same documents Haroon says his family has to take to the airport every time they try to evacuate, which makes them a target.
So they've been carrying all these documents with them, and Taliban has to go through them to let them go closer to the American. So now they know who is working with American.
They say home is where the heart is.
We are here, but I'm not here.
Haroon left his heart in Afghanistan, and Colorado won't be home until the rest of his family is here too.
He helped you guys. He put his life in danger and risk. Now he deserves it to be in the United States.
For Next, I'm Victoria De Leon.
Hurricane Ida is hitting Louisiana and moving dangerously close to New Orleans right now.
Heavy rain in New York City created waterfalls in subway stations and flash flooding. A city bus inundated by water in Queens.
A dozen volunteers from Colorado and Wyoming are already in the area to work with the Red Cross. They're prepared for whatever comes next. And as you can see, there is a lot of water to contend with there. The focus will be on sheltering evacuees in some of the hardest hit towns and neighborhoods.
The opt-out is a necessary safety valve, and we've seen it because not only has Douglas on this contentious issue opted out, this is a political issue, and Adams County opted out.
I'm concerned, given the trends in COVID, that what we've created is a policy that creates a patchwork of responses that's very driven by political decisions. And so I am for the rescinding of the opt-out policy.
Counties can no longer opt out of the Tri-County Health Mask requirement in schools and child care facilities.
Tri-County's board voted 5-3 to get rid of this policy that allows counties to opt out.
Douglas County is now considering its own local independent public health agency separate from Tri-County Health.
Commissioners in Adams County have made similar threats for different reasons. The main one being they didn't like having to make the decision whether to opt out of the mask mandate. And it sounds like Arapahoe County is thinking about something similar.
Hold on, let me get in here.
Before these horses lived near Longmont.
And I got him when he was just 9 months old. And he's now 11.
They lived in the wild of Wyoming.
I know.
Now they live with Carol Walker, who adopted them after what she calls brutal roundups by the Bureau of Land Management.
I was at the last helicopter roundup in 2008 that they did there, and 11 horses died.
The horses are important. The sage grouse is important. The antelope are important. We need to make sure there's plenty of food in the kitchen for all of them.
Bruce Silito manages the BLM office, which oversees horses in the San Wash Basin west of Craig, Colorado.
We follow very stringent safety requirements. We take very good care of those horses. We make sure the foals are separated so they don't get trampled.
He says drought conditions require the removal of about 730 wild horses, which will be adopted out to the public, about 82% of the herd.
And so it's very important to not only have healthy horses, but it's very important to have healthy rangeland.
These horses are not dying. I was there 3 weeks ago. Things had gotten pretty sparse during the summer, but then the rains came.
Walker says she took these pictures 3 weeks ago of healthy horses drinking at watering holes. She believes the real reason the BLM wants to remove the wild horses is to allow ranchers to let their sheep graze and drink on the same land.
And to put livestock out when there's supposedly a drought emergency is crazy.
Silito says the livestock only uses about 4% of the water and vegetation in the San Wash Basin.
The other 95% of the resources are used by horses. We have data on that. It shows clearly that the horses are using the abundance of the resources.
And he's 13, and I've had him for 11 years.
Walker doesn't believe it. And while she loves her horses.
But you know what? I would rather he had grown up in the wild, where he belonged.
Just like the wild horses in the San Wash Basin. Nelson Garcia, 9 News.
And that'll do it for those top headlines on this Labor Day weekend. Enjoy it. And as always, stay safe, and we'll see you right back here on Tuesday. I'm Chris Bianchi. Have a great Labor Day weekend.